It was supposed to be a dream home, until it became America's most notorious haunted house. But what if the truth behind the Amityville horror is far stranger, and darker, than what the movie ever revealed? The tale of the Amityville horror has terrified millions across books, documentaries, and films. But behind the screams, lies, and flashing cameras is a real family, a brutal mass murder, and a web of controversy that blurs the line between paranormal phenomenon and psychological trauma. In this video, we go beyond Hollywood to uncover what really happened at 112 Ocean Avenue, and why this house continues to haunt American pop culture decades later. It all began in November 1974, when Ronald DeFeo Jr. committed one of the most disturbing crimes in Long Island history. He shot and killed 6 members of his family, his parents and 4 siblings, as they slept in their beds. The entire community was shocked. DeFeo later claimed that he heard voices telling him to kill, and while that defense didn't save him from a murder conviction, it planted the seeds of something far more sinister. Just over a year after the killings, George and Kathy Lutz moved into the same house with their 3 children. They were aware of what had happened there, but the deal on the property was too good to ignore. They lasted just 28 days before fleeing in terror, claiming the house was possessed by a dark force. What followed was a storm of media attention and a cascade of supernatural claims: green slime oozing from the walls, freezing cold spots, levitating beds, and George waking every night at exactly 3:15 a.m., the time the murders occurred. One of the creepiest stories involved a red-eyed demonic pig named Jody that their daughter supposedly communicated with. In the midst of their ordeal, the Lutzes called in Ed and Lorraine Warren, 2 of the most well-known paranormal investigators of their time. Lorraine claimed she sensed an overwhelming, evil presence in the home. A photo taken during their investigation showed what appeared to be a ghostly boy peeking out from a doorway. It became an iconic piece of alleged supernatural evidence and further cemented the legend of the haunted house. But as the story gained momentum, so did the skepticism. Journalists and researchers found inconsistencies in the Lutz's claims. No physical evidence ever supported their experiences. Even the local priest they cited later denied major parts of their account. In 1979, a bombshell dropped. William Weber, Ronald DeFeo's defense attorney, claimed he had helped the Lutzes fabricate the entire haunting story to sell books and profit from the murder house's infamy. Despite that, the book sold millions of copies, and the film adaptation was a box office sensation. Still, George and Kathy Lutz stood by their story until their deaths. They insisted it was all true, no matter how sensationalized it had become. And while no one has ever been able to prove their claims, the story of the Amityville haunting grew beyond them, evolving into a cultural touchstone. It wasn't just about one haunted house anymore, it was about the idea that evil could linger in a place long after tragedy. Over the years, experts and psychologists have offered other explanations. Maybe it wasn't ghosts, but psychological strain, financial pressure, or even group hysteria that created the horror the Lutzes claimed to experience. Whatever the cause, the Amityville case became one of the earliest and most iconic examples of America's obsession with true crime and the supernatural. It helped define how these stories are told and sold. Today, the house at 112 Ocean Avenue still stands, though its address has been changed to ward off ghost hunters and tourists. The exterior has been remodeled, and new owners have lived there without incident. They report no paranormal activity, just the ongoing annoyance of people showing up with cameras and curiosity. Still, the legend persists. So, was the Amityville horror a genuine case of demonic possession, or an elaborate hoax built on real tragedy? That's a question that may never be answered definitively. But perhaps the most haunting thing about this story isn't the supernatural, it's how easily fear, trauma, and storytelling can intertwine to create a legend that never dies.